Gaila Kirdiene šobrīd Lietuvā ievērojamākā autoritāte par tradicionālo vijoļu spēli, etnoloģe, Lietuvas mūzikas un teātra akadēmijas profesore un vecākā pētniece, vairāku grāmatu autore par tradicionālo vijoļu spēli Lietuvā un par lietuviešu vijoļu spēles tradīcijām ārpus Lietuvas robežām. Prašam, Gaila.
Paldies. I've chosen to a quite large topic, so it will be like an overview of these all things, like history, repertoires, and playing styles. And I can say that both chordophones and fiddles have a long tradition in Lithuania, and they are various. We can divide them into two main types. I will later show the examples for you, drawings or photos, and that is the instruments, the braccio, whose body is non-flexible, and they can be simple, like stick fiddles, board fiddles, both with a resonator or without resonator, or complex fiddles hollowed out of a block of wood or with a separate stick-to-nailed side walls, which is already similar to violin. And the bows are also very various. They can be flexible arch bows without nut, with handle or without it, and sturdy stick bows with a nut or stable nut, with a tag or cremaliere, with an end screw. So now you see here the stick or board instruments and flexible bows. They are spread both in West Lithuania and East Lithuania. And they can have from 3 to even 6, 7 strings. These are drawings from pre-war period and collected also by me and my colleagues in the recent decades. This is hollowed out instrument from East Lithuania, nowadays Belarus, made by Vytautas for his son. And actually it could have 4 strings, but it has 3. And we did also recordings on it, video recordings, but I haven't prepared to show it for you. This is a hollowed out instrument fiddle from Dievaniškės, also Eastern Lithuania. You see the shape is of violin, but the structure is hollowed out from one piece of wood. Bottom and sides. This is a beautiful instrument by a young master from West Lithuania, Žemaitija. This is already with separate sidewalls. They were nailed to the chest, we would say. And these are instruments, various instruments with bows, with a tag. You see here a tag. And the bow stick is cut in, or there is, can you see it from the right? This is cremaliere. It's a special metal zinc and a tag on it. So, and terminology shows us that the both fiddle-like chordophones, the braccio in Lithuania, could have been spread in Lithuania most probably since the 10th century. That is the opinion of the linguists, that the word mūzikas, fiddle, was adopted by Lithuanians from the Western tribes of the Eastern Slavs in this time. This fact allows us to assume that Lithuanians began to play the prototypes of the violin almost at the same time as South European nations. So both Lithuanians and Latvians have this term, smuikas, mūzikas, from Russian smuik. Russian smuikat means pull, mop, scratch, Lithuanian traukyti, or play with a bow. We also have Baltic terms, griežti, to play, griežinė, a fiddle, griežiklis, a bow, griežėjas, player. Also Latvian words, griest, griešana. And in Lithuania, only the verb griežti, to play is spread over throughout Lithuania. That Baltic word is very popular. And there are some literary sources which are reaching first beginning of the 14th century. From Great Lithuania and others also from Minor Lithuania in the west. And there is a nice drawing from Christian Bartsch, Dainų balsai, a collection of songs in the end of 19th century. And we have some similar instruments also in our museum collections, with a hat similar to that of a medieval rebec. And now I made that drawings from Kolchin's book with depicting the findings of archaeological findings of the hollowed out pear-shaped rebec lyra type instruments. Russian would be called smyk or gudok from Novgorod, from 12th century in the right and 14th century in the left. So you see that size is a little bit different, but they are pear-shaped and they are hollowed out, and 3 stringed instruments. However, in Lithuania, we don't have any findings or any museum or remained instruments of this type. The only one instrument which is very similar, maybe could be said so, to this lyra rebec type instrument is this one you see here in the pictures from National Museum, made in the early 20th century from Vijoļu near Nemunas. It's a very small instrument, maybe made for a child, but the neck is good to play for an adult because it's thick and though not long, short one. But all instruments of the hollowed out instruments in Lithuania and some others, they have a distinct line between the body and handle. I mean this part. So you see that these shoulders, they always have shoulders. And they also have a flat bottom. The bottom is flat, it's not bulged, but flat. This one is absolutely flat. And this is a great difference from these instruments, South European and Near East instruments. And they are characteristic features of North European fiddles, and they are dominating in Lithuania. We have various instruments preserved in museums. This one is from West Lithuania. And this one is also carved out, but from above. It's hollowed out, but only not bottom, but the upper side is carved out. And now I am going to the slide of the relations of the Lithuanian fiddles and fiddling with mythic and religious view of the world. In my book, you see it here. I devoted the whole chapter to this to this relation because it's rather many-sided and can be traced and seen from the instruments itself, and also from the terminology names, and also from customs, and also from various folklore types and tales. And my conclusion was that the fiddler can be viewed as a person adopting and saving relics of the role of pre-Christian prophet or wizard. The fiddler and fiddling played a role of mediator between this world and the beyond, death and life, lower and upper spheres of the world. And so it doesn't belong only to the lower sphere or to the devil. The connections of Lithuanian fiddling with both the old Indo-European religions as well as Christianity were found to be rather many-sided. One can find some ties also between Lithuanian fiddling and the symbolics and mythical outlook of the old Europe too. I would say not only Lithuanian, but because these things like these things and the scroll, these symbols are very, very typical to old Europe. Mythology and also ornaments. And it's also like a symbol of tree of life or tree of the world, having three parts, lower, upper, and the middle part, which we can see everywhere in the Baltic culture and outside it. So, so much shortly about it, and now I go to the repertoires. Our repertoires in Lithuania, I should mention that we have recorded, documented more than 700 fiddlers, 700, and about 400 of them have been recorded, either video or audio and video, and about 4,000 pieces or recordings. And the repertoire can be divided into the three parts. One is related with vocal versions, that is songs, religious chants, hymns, roundels or games, and very few mentioning about wedding laments, and maybe some others going into up to today. The largest part is dances, and we are especially interested in the part of various traditional dances, which includes sutartinės dances, circle dances, pre-polka couple dances, counter dances, quadrilles, and others. Also waltzes and waltz-like dances, foxtrots, and more modern dances like tangos and others. And also quite a large part of the repertoire is marches, which can be wedding, funeral, though not very characteristic of fiddle repertoire, military, shepherds, and it should be said that they are connected and sometimes also mixed, intertwined between each other. And there is an example, a notation of the bride's lament at wedding, where we have notated the vocal part and instrumental part, which looks very similar to the fiddle notation. It was notated by the priest Antanas Baranauskas in the middle of the 19th century in Aukštaitija, middle of Lithuania, Anykščiai parish. And I am starting now from Aukštaitija and going to the Repertoires and characteristics of the playing styles. One of the earliest collections of instrumental music is by Adolfas Sabaliauskas Žaliarūta, which was published in Helsinki in 1916. And he was a priest also. And he decided to publish among all sutartinės pieces and skudučiai and ragai and daudytės pieces, this very characteristic music of sutartinės, polyphonic music of northeast Lithuania. He decided to publish 2 polkas for griežinę, fiddle, which were chosen from many polkas as the most Lithuanian one. And then also some pieces of harmonica. We also have some manuscript collections. This one is also from North Aukštaitija, written down by Kazimieras Jovaiša, a collection of 30 dances and marches, which we keep in our archive of Lithuanian Music and Theatre Academy in Vilnius. And I show you this piece. It's called Waltz, but in the 1960s, this tune was arranged by Konradas Kaveckas as folk waltz to countryside band, liaudiška kapela, and was spread throughout Lithuania. You know this piece, I think, the Latvians. And he even took also the second part of this original notation and only added third part by his own. Kaveckas. And now we go to the sutartinės dances from East Aukštaičiai repertoire. And this is one of the examples of the collective sutartinė buvo dūda Vilniui, was pipe in Vilnius. You know this tune. Buvo dūda Vilniuje, gal ir buvo, gal nebuvo, gal ir buvo, gal nebuvo. We see this fiddler here. He was, of course, playing together with a harmonica player. And you can see these all, I'm showing you now the database where all the recordings are placed. I hope it will work. It will show you how to find these recordings now. Up. We have to find lupa. Oh, how to go now down. Arvidai, kaip man dabar nueiti žemyn, tu man pasakyk. I have to go down and can't do that.
Ką reikia?
Nu, į apačią nueiti.
Kur?
Į apačią nueiti.
Su kuo?
Nu, matau aš nieko. Maybe here. Maybe already this one. Oh, no.
Ką?
But čia nueiti į apačią. I cannot see this. Maybe I'll do it like this. Okay. Okay, one second. Nenuleis, man reikia iš šono patraukti. Sekundę. Op. Okay. Okay, we have to push this one. Then to go down to the instrument. At first here. Then we go there. Once again to the instrument, this here, musical instrument, and go down again. And choose an instrument, and we choose mūzikas, for example. We need mūzikas, yes? And we push here, and we look for dūda. And we have our dance Duda here. Oh, where is it now? Oh, it's here. Yeah. You see, it has been recorded, it was recorded in 1939. What's now? Huh? So I just would like to add that the younger interviewees told me that Kirdiene and his wife, a four-stringed bass player, used to play this dance, and the dancers used to sing along with the music in four voices, and they called this dance sutartinė. I wanted to show you from the same village we have the pupil of the Kirdienės, Strazdas, but he played in drone style, and he said that it's Kirdienės polka, which has to be played like this, and all pieces played in the same style. Okay.
Kirdienė polka.
Okay, I would only add that I asked his son to show me his fiddle, and you can see that the bridge is very flat. Of course, it helped the musician to play in this style, in the continuous drone style. I visited this musician too, so they have been made some recordings by some 3 musicologists. And you see him here in the middle of a nice circle after a church festival. So now we go to the southeast of Lithuania, to Dzūkija, which is very famous for solo fiddling. And we see that also in the depictions of the 19th century, that it's enough to play for dances, solo fiddle and frame drum. You see it here. And it's interesting picture of the rafters, which were sailing from upper Nemunas to the sea. And this region is also very famous for its conservativity, how to say. They have preserved pretty many old dances. We can see it in this table, in this hymn. that the dances which were described by the ethnographer Henryk Gegužinsky in the 1867, sukčius, tancius, kepurėlė, anglėzas kepetėlė. He called them the main Dzūkian dances, and some of them were also ritual, like sukčius and tancius and kepurėlė. And the fiddlers from the pre-war period, written down in 1935 and 1939, they played also a lot, about 40 of these dances. Unfortunately, not all these recordings have been preserved, but still we have about 10 of them. And in the later times, fiddler Tiltus and others, they have preserved sukčius, kepurėlė, angelčikas, and also we can see that already in the pre-war period, some dances have been incorporated into the polkas. That means that polka started to gain more popularity. But it used the melodies of old dances, and not only melodies, also the titles were taken over. Now we have kepurėlė or kepurinė, that means a hat dance. So where you have to do a reverence, and you will hear that from music. It's recording from 1967. And another dance, angelčikas, that means English dance or anglais. You can see here this Dzūkian version, schematically notated, and a typical English dance version in comparison, and listen to the music. So, and another one beautiful example of the drone style and drone melody, special drone melody which doesn't change a key or a letter, is a wedding song, Ar žiba žiburužis, is there a light shining. By Muliarskas, born in the middle of 19th century, Trakai, so near Vilnius, old capital of Lithuania. So you see that the musician was nearly 100 years old when he was recorded, and the fiddle was tuned a fifth lower and fitted to his voice, which is a very common practice in Lithuania, to fit fiddle to your voice. Now I go to South Lithuania, to Sūduva, Suvalkija, Sūduvė. And we have also some examples of drone music, fiddle music here. Jonas Ragažinskas is a very talented musician. He is from a musical family where 5 generations played fiddle, as far as remember it. And he played not only virtuoso polkas and other dances, but also the old waltz taught to him by his father. And first part of this waltz doesn't change the key or letter, but in spite of it, it's very, very technically and with crossbowed 16th notes. She starts always from weak part of the bar. And also use pizzicato in the second part, and it's him here with his friends, and we see a video now, I hope so. So you see that ethnomusicologist, I also visited him in this group. He was recorded in the years from 1990 to 1993. They managed to record both voices of him. So on one magnetophone, one voice, and then he listened to his first voice and played second voice because he liked playing in 2 voices in a band very much. And you see how much he enjoyed that. And he's playing like playing, kaip žaidžia. Now we go to West Lithuania, Žemaitija, Samogitija, and we have here very famous families by musicians recorded in the pre-war period in this database I showed you there. You can find also after a family name, Abromavičius, for example. And also strange bands were very popular here, like this, orchestras. And there were also a lot of brass bands which influenced the strange music, and musicians were able not only to read from the notes, but also compose and write down their music down here. Like this was a quiet, silent evening, tylus vakaras, by Stankūnas from Žemaitija, created in 1924. But interesting thing is that okay, let's listen to the example, that there are very close ties also between fiddle playing and singing in Žemaitian style. And you can see it very good, especially here in this song, it's wedding song or young love song, o Jūzi Jūzelį, ko tu mandravoji, kodėl tu pas mane sugrįžti nenori. Because you can see a lot of slides and sliding into a pitch and to a fifth. Here, down, upwards, downwards, and also modeling of the sound, so increasing of this volume. and also very interesting ending or cadence. Okay, so there's an example of a jig-like part of a quadrille from Žemaitija. You see that it's in 6/8. I don't have a recording now, but it's really not waltz, and they are quite rare in Lithuania. I think in Latvia maybe they are met more often. So now we go to an example of the band of Luoke ethnographic ensemble, folk musicians, recorded in 1976, Lileikis brothers, Liudvikas Šimkus, and Fortunatas Sauka, 3 fiddles and double bass. It's a polka, but Repsėjimo polka transcribed by myself. Okay, you can see that first fiddle is playing first voice, second is playing from here, starting already second voice, and third is always playing like a rhythmical accompaniment called bosinimas, bass part. And it's of course an example of homophonic music, but sometimes they used also drone in the third part. They didn't change the key. And now I'm going to my finishing part of my presentation. It's about disseminating and popularizing this music today. Of course, the repertoire and playing styles of folk fiddle have been gradually changed with every musical generation. Various traditional dances were replaced by polkas, waltzes, foxtrots, and individually created songs. But namely the impact of countryside bands starting from the 1960s, stage performing together with mass culture and globalization caused sweeping changes of aesthetics, structure, and performing stylistics of instrumental folk music. An urgent task of today is not only to research authentic Lithuanian folk music, but also to transmit it in its characteristic shape to the younger musicians and listeners. Since the 1980s, in Lithuania, the folk fiddling is being occasionally popularized not only at the festivals, but also in some theoretical and practical seminars, courses, camps. For example, in Kelmė, Birštonas, Visaginas, and other places. They are organized not only by institutions, but also on private initiative. And it's just a pity that we have only a few schools where traditional fiddling is being taught. actually only in Kaunas, in Vilnius once children music school and also music academy, but only few students, which are learning only 1 or 2 years, actually 1. And we have only one traditional fiddling competition, which is held in LSD. That's why I took now the example, the case of LSD, to show you how the tradition has been preserved and kept until today. You see here a fantastic fiddler Antanas Labanskas in the 1970s, and Albinas Bartnikas with his wedding music bands. They are all from his album. And I have visited this musician and other musicologists starting from 1980s, and he is still alive, and just only 2 years when he is already too sick to go on stage. There is recording from 1994 where Labanskas and Bartnikas are playing a duet. I hope it will work. Oh, yeah. Will we have it or not? Oh, I have, yes, okay. Okay, so you see that Bartnikas, he always was participating at various festivals in Vilnius and LSD. And there is also another person, Romualdas Mazetis, who has at Cultural House Center, has like a studio for his for children who would like to play fiddle, not at music school, traditional fiddle. And he is participating also with his pupils at festivals. Here we see at this competition in LSD, we have also some workshops. We had here already some foreign guests from Punskas, Latvia, Lithuanians, and Latvia, and also Lithuanians from Punskas. Now you see Algirdas Klova is giving here workshop, and the girls are in Dzūkian national costumes. And this year we had also Festival Griežinė already for 20th year, I think. And because our colleagues from Baltic countries couldn't come, I would like to show you at the end of my presentation a small video from the opening moment of this festival, this year festival, okay? That's all. Thank you for your attention and maybe questions.
Yes, we have one question from internet, live translation. And the question is there left any written or recorded dance choreography for those melodies in Lithuania?
For which melodies?
For those melodies which you were showing for us, is there left any choreography?
Choreography. Yes, of Dzūkian dances and also of Dūda, the sutartinės dances, they have a choreographist. Only Capoeira that had dance, it was overtaken by the stylized dance and song of orchestras. And there are various notations, fixations of the choreography, but not maybe put together with music. I think that a lot of choreographies have been notated, just not maybe simultaneously. Yes, that's the problem.
Are nowadays folk groups are using those choreographies with those melodies or not?
Yes. For example, sukčius. I mentioned you sukčius, and there is also such a such a event in Lithuania. The whole Lithuania is dancing. Visa Lietuva šoka. And they take also these very archaic dances like sukčius. It's like dance in a circle. You have to put your hands on shoulders, what is very, very southern feature actually of choreography. And we have tune, and we have also some versions of choreography, and they danced also this dance. I think you can find also in the YouTube internet. Sukčius. It's not sukčius, it's like a circle dance, spinning around dance. Yeah, so of course, it's been always a problem of putting together the music and choreographies. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Gaila. Labai ačiū Jums.
Paldies for you too. Okay.
Ačiū.
Festivāla pirmā ārzemju lekcija ir noslēgusies.